Good morning. My name is Linda Propert-Sanford. I'm your worship associate today, and on behalf of the worship team, guest presenter Beyssa Buil, worship producer Vincent Rains, worship coordinator Jeffrey Melcher, Susan Kiter of our music staff, I welcome you to this worship service with the First Unitarian Church of Oakland. Please turn your camera off while we begin our service and light our chalice and our candles. This will allow us to begin with a quiet space. We will turn our cameras on to greet each other later in the service. Please note that we are recording this service, so if you don't want to be in the recording, please keep your camera turned off. For best viewing experience, we recommend that you make certain you have the up-to-date version of Zoom and the Zoom app on your computer. And now, a few words from a member of our Board of Trustees.
Hello, my name is Kathy Rades, a member of your Board of Trustees. We are glad you're here this morning. We are an intentionally multi-generational, multiracial, multicultural, inclusive, and anti-oppressive religious community. You are welcome here. We invite you to fill out the guest connection card that you will see in the chat. We want to be able to support you and your exploration of what's available in our community that interests you and how you might participate. Welcome. Now, before we begin worship, we have a few reminders. First, today at 12:30, our environmental justice advocates will be meeting. Join a team of active members working for healthy change, or just come to say hello. See the Zoom link in the chat, and you can email eja@uuoakland.org for more info. Next, expanded registration for the Women's Retreat on Saturday, June 26th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be a glorious day of rituals, crafts, singing, poetry, play reading, and more in a scenic outdoor space at the UU Congregation of Marin, 240 Channing Way, San Rafael. All women and non-binary people are welcome if fully vaccinated. Babies under 1 are also welcome. The event is free and carpooling is available. The space is limited, so email womensretreat@uuoakland.org ASAP to register. Finally, on June 27th, noon to 2:15 p.m., all members or friends are welcome to attend the online Board of Trustees meeting next Sunday. The meeting will begin at 12 p.m. with a 15-minute public comment period, and you can also send comments to secretary@uuoakland.org. To receive the meeting link, email yesplease@uuoakland.org with board meeting in the subject line. Please visit the online calendar for details about all of these happenings. And for any Zoom links to join church events, just email yesplease@uuoakland.org.
Thank you, Kathy. Please join in our chalice lighting words, which should appear on your screen. We light this chalice today, symbol of Unitarian Universalism, in part a celebration of COVID-19 vaccines that bring us closer to being together in person, and we commit to the health and safety of everyone, leaving no one behind. Now Stefan will light our Black Lives Matter candle. Please join in these words on your screen. We light this candle in recognition of the Black Lives Matter movement and in recognition of the systemic racism that tries to deny the full humanity of Black people, and we commit to dismantling it with daily action. And finally, our peace candle. As we light our peace candle, we call for an end to gun violence and witness the pain of families who lost loved ones in the 12 mass shootings in the United States this week. Thank you, Stefan. We begin today with a hymn performed by our chancel choir. Please mute your microphone if you have turned it on, and feel free to sing along to yourself with the hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit. The words will be on your screen.
Of
Now, if you please unmute your microphones, it's time to greet your neighbors. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Linda. Hi, Ron.
Good morning, Ron.
Hi, Carol.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good
morning, all.
Everything's okay.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Linda.
Good morning,
Ron.
Marcy.
Hi,
Good morning,
Carol.
Linda.
Hi.
Good morning, Clark.
Hi,
Morning.
Mary.
Janice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Judith. Hi, Carol.
Hi,
Hi.
Dennis.
MJ.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Mary
Hi,
Jane.
Sarah.
How are you doing?
Hi, Dennis.
Hi,
Hi.
Hey,
Marilyn.
Carol. Good morning.
Morning,
Hey,
Hester.
Evelyn.
Morning.
Good morning. Hi, Donna and
Morning,
George.
MJ.
Hi, Dennis. Hi, Dennis.
Morning, Linda.
Hi, Evelyn.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Deborah. Hi,
Hi,
Deborah.
Mary Jane.
Hi, John. Hi, Mary.
Hi there.
Hi,
Good to
Jody.
see everyone.
Hi. Hi, Sarah.
Donna.
Hi, Noemi.
Hi,
Hi,
Ron.
Evelyn.
Hello. Hi,
Hey,
Marilyn.
Deborah.
Hi, Marcy.
Hi, MJ.
Good morning,
Hey,
Judith.
hello. Hello,
Morning.
Hi,
Debbie.
Ron.
Morning, Noemi.
Morning, Claudia.
Hey, Mary Jane.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing, Kathy?
Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Judith.
Hi,
Hi,
Marcy.
Sarah.
Jody from Oregon.
Yes.
Mhm. Yep.
Jody's in
Oh,
Mhm.
is it time for us to come back together? May I ask you all to go back on mute, if you will? Today, we welcome our guest speaker, Chaplain Beyssa Buil. Raised in Miami, Florida, she is an endorsed humanist chaplain and celebrant, a spiritual director, and an anti-racism coach and writer. A recent graduate of Meadville Lombard Theological School, she counts poetry, philosophy, ethics, ritual, biofield science, and healing as among her interests. We're so pleased to have her with us this morning. She will begin today with a wisdom story.
Good Night, Darth Vader by Jeffrey Brown. Yawning is the path to bedtime. Yawning leads to weariness. Weariness leads to lying down. Lying down leads to sleep. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Episode 8 p.m. bedtime. Lord Darth Vader rules the galaxy while attempting to rule his twin children, Luke and Leia Skywalker. He has commanded them to go to bed, but they have other ideas. Luke, Leia, join me and I will complete your bedtime. Now, why do we have to go to bed? If only you knew the power of sleep. Read us a story? Yeah, as you wish. It's hard to sleep if you're annoyed, if I may say so. I merely commented that the perfectly acceptable blah blah blah. Now it's time to shut each droid. When Jar Jar puts on his PJs for bed, he always ends up with a bonk on his head. Dexter's Diner is quiet with few patrons in sight. Soon it'll be time to turn off the lights. Poor Darth Maul is pacing long into the night. He's wide awake and can't sleep, try as he might. Padme is tired after too many Calais, so sleep is quite welcome for Queen Amidala. It takes a long time, in fact. Nothing longer for battle droids to say goodnight to each other. Roger, 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 Roger. Ashoka the Padawan is not ready for bed, but she drifts off to sleep when she lays down her head. It's bedtime of Kashyyyk for all the Wookiees. So now they climb high to sleep up in the trees. Getting ready for bed, General Grievous is done 4 times faster than anyone. In the arena, it's always a fight to settle the creatures all down for the night. The archives are silent, the Jedi all sleeping. Jocasta can now rest up her eyes after reading. The raiders, they sleep, the days roaming ashore, while outside the banthas contentedly snore. Ben goes to bed early. He is wise. He sets his alarm for bright early rise. The Jawas have all gone inside for the night, but now they will argue who should turn off the light. It's too hard for Han Solo and Chewie in this wretched hive of scum and villainy. Bounty hunters tuck in already and set. Shh, you shh. Except for young Boba and his dad Jango Fett. Time for bed it is, for Yoda rest I need, yes, rest. Near the Emperor's bedroom guards hear noise from within as Palpatine talks in his sleep once again. No, it is you who are gravely mistaken. The fleet goes to bed asleep in the stars, except for one not just yet hungry Akbar. It's bedtime snack. Good night, Death Star. I think Dad's asleep. Again? Good night, Luke. Good night, Leia. Good night, Darth Vader. The end. So in this story, Darth Vader is the father, and it turns out that Lord Vader needed a lot of parenting himself. Remember to always get rest and respite, and to know that you are loved.
I've learned something about the slow, steady growth of hope in the last 4 years. After the November 2016 election, I was pretty depressed about the state of our democracy. Those of you who know me know I'm a pretty optimistic person, so this was a particularly uncomfortable place for me to be. But as I've learned during my time in this congregation, being uncomfortable can stimulate growth. At the suggestion of a member of this congregation, I started doing small daily actions to resist the direction that the government was headed in. I posted public comments in opposition to pending federal regulations that would undermine the values I held. I told my member of Congress that I expected her to co-sponsor a particularly good bill about 5 minutes after I learned what co-sponsoring was. I learned how to text resist bots to my representatives in Congress. I wrote a lot of postcards. Sometimes my action was to read an article about someone who had succeeded in resisting the government just to encourage myself. I see now that a lot of my need to take these daily actions was about cultivating hope. I wanted to counter my feelings of helplessness and hopelessness by doing something concrete, something positive. And in a few short weeks, doing these small actions actually helped me feel more hopeful. Then I began reading about people like me who were banding together to take the same actions at the same time in order to maximize their impact. That made me even more hopeful. So then I did something that was definitely outside my comfort zone. I reached out to lots of people I knew and I told them what I was doing. I was scared to put myself out there, but I did it anyway. I asked if they wanted to join me. Friends, family members, co-workers, neighbors, members of this congregation. I asked everybody I could think of. 4.5 years later, I now send out an email 5 days a week to 50 people to suggest one small action they could take that day to protect our democracy. Sometimes my email is light-hearted and encouraging. Sometimes it asks people to stretch themselves for our democracy. And sometimes I ask people to write postcards or write their members of Congress or participate in a protest. To date, I've sent out more than 1,100 daily action emails. My people regularly tell me these daily emails encourage them and make them feel more optimistic. Slowly, over the years, this daily practice has helped me and 50 people that I know to embrace the possibilities that hope offers.
Now we get to enjoy a song, The Garden Song, written by David Mallet and performed by our own Susan Kiter.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, we are made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. Tune my body and my brain to the music from the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will keep you strong if you give her love and care. Old crow watching hungrily from her perch in yonder tree. In my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down.
Our lives and those whom we love are filled with action and non-action, emotional highs and lows, grief and joy. These things are not separate. They interweave, and we can choose to a fair degree how we respond to what life gives us. To tend to our emotional and spiritual gardens. I want to bring to the fore a mention today of Father's Day, celebrating fathers and understanding the complicated relationships some of us have with fathers. Some of us know our biological fathers and some do not. I also wanted to lift up the first national holiday celebration of Juneteenth and all the education and celebration that is bringing. And I want to invoke for the future of these not a day of rest or mattress sales, but a day of reflection, relationship, and equality activism for BIPOC communities and celebrations of those successes. May we all draw upon the support of our higher powers, whatever that might be, and the care of this community. Amen, Amin, Ashe, so may it be.
Hello, beloved congregation. It is truly a wonderful thing to be together on this day, spanning zip codes and time zones. As I picture looking out into this congregation, I see each one of you as a wonderful, beautiful specimen of a human being. Let's pretend and contemplate for a moment that we are sitting in this field of practice, each one of us as a rare flower. I also want to acknowledge that in our country, celebrations have occurred and are occurring this weekend for Juneteenth, long celebrated by African Americans in the US, recognizing June 19th, 1865, when many enslaved people in Texas learned they had been freed. Although Abraham Lincoln, president at the time, had signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years earlier, it could not be enforced in many places until after the end of the Civil War in April 1865. And today, we are celebrating what is known as Father's Day. As we honor this day, and also in dismantling binary thinking of just including cis men, we honor instead those that support, guide, and nurture and parent. However, something must be said about the roots of celebrating Father's Day. Originally, Father's Day was a holiday of honoring fatherhood and paternal bonds. In Catholic countries of Europe, it was celebrated since the Middle Ages, typically in March, and known as St. Joseph's Day, to honor the spiritual father or the parish priest. This example is used to show that it was not always an actual blood relative that was honored, but the role of mentoring, supporting, and guiding. In many other countries around the world, from Asia to India to Malaysia to Australia to Argentina to Cuba, Russia, Father's Day is also celebrated in various forms. And the list goes on and on. In the United States, however, Father's Day was founded by Sonora Smart Dodd. She was the daughter of American Civil War veteran William Jackson Smart. So what is the importance of fathering? The word fathering in the dictionary means the activity of bringing up a child, the process or journey of raising a child and supporting the development of a child physically, emotionally, socially, and even intellectually. On fathers.com, the model reads encouragement, support, and guidance. So now let's discuss that as we begin our lives, we may or may not have had a father. Some of us may have had really fun dads, some strict and authoritative figures. We may have had mothers or parents who fathered us. I want to share an excerpt from Wounds from Our Father, written by Reverend Mike Johnson, a Unitarian Universalist minister and earth activist in Portland, Maine, practicing and teaching ecological spirituality. And I will quote, "Each of us has gifts and wounds from those who fathered us. This is inevitable. Even the best fathers in the world disappoint their children sometimes. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to grow up. But I know that some wounds are deeper than others. Some people's hearts have been broken by their father's neglect or abuse, or by the absence of good fathering in their lives. When Father's Day comes along, while it may be joyful for some, it can bring up the pain others carry from painful relationship with their fathers. It can also trigger grief and sadness for those who have lost their fathers or whose fathers' lives have been diminished from illness or old age. Let this day be a day where we can honor our fathers and also honor our fathering wounds. Jane Myers Drew, a psychologist whose father died when she was only a toddler, wrestled with the question of how to recover from fathering wounds. She offers some guidance in her healing book, Where Were You When I Needed You, Dad? She says that first of all, we must increase our awareness of our father's impact of us. We must define what we missed from our dad when we were young and what we received from them. Then we must get in touch with any hurt and anger we may be holding on to regarding our father and make room for expressing our feelings, mourning, and letting go of the pain. When we have honored our feelings, we are able to look again at our parent, seeing them as a human being in their own right, and cultivating a deeper understanding of their situation. This will help us to say goodbye to the parent of our youth and to release any expectations we have that can no longer be fulfilled. Then when we turn to the healing of the child within, reconnecting with that young part of ourselves who wanted to be nurtured and treasured by a tender father, we try to become our own good father, finding ways to fill in for the experiences we missed with our dad. Fathering ourselves will be different for each one of us. Each of us had a unique childhood experience, different gifts and wounds that we received. For some, it may not be so simple or easy to undo the damage of childhood. But even if we didn't receive all the fathering we needed from our biological parent or other childhood caregivers, we can receive fathering from others even as adults. All of us as adults can learn to parent ourselves and each other, to share the gifts we received, and to heal the wounds of our childhoods. Remember when I looked out into the horizon of this congregation and saw each and every single one of you as a rare human species in the shape of a flower? It is vital that we become empowered in the knowledge that we matter, that we are loved, and that we are worthy. The same way we cultivate a rare flower by tending to its needs, we learn that deep listening, resting, and observation support knowing which action to take in nurturing and supporting our human plant. It is vital in fathering ourselves and others that we begin the deep work of listening closely, of making time for reflection to respond back when a wound has been triggered, to making time for rest and rejuvenation. These are the ways that we plant, prune the flower of our souls. We will practice an embodiment meditation by Mike Johnson, adapted by me. I invite you into a period of quiet meditation. Close your eyes if you wish, and get comfortable in your seat. Think about the father figure you carry in your heart. I invite you to remember the gifts and the wounds you received from that person or persons. If any feelings come up, just breathe deeply and honor those feelings as a connection with your own heart. And we will stay in this space, sending warm, loving energy and healing to our heart and to the connection of the fathering wounds we may or may not have received. We stay in this space as we begin to parent our own selves. As we begin to feel things that may have been locked away or things that we may have never had time to reflect on. And we take deep breaths, deep cleansing breaths, as we prune away anything that no longer serves us. And instead, with this next breath, we send in the love and the healing to fathering ourselves. As we close our meditation, I invite you to listen to some fathering words that we don't get to hear often enough. I love you just the way you are. I have confidence in you. You can achieve your goals. I will stand behind you. You can depend on me. I'm so proud of you. Stand up for yourself. Your opinions and feelings are important. I have faith in you. You matter. You are worthy. You are adored. You are loved. You have a community garden of other human beings who want you to succeed. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. When you are ready, you can breathe deeply 3 times and open your eyes. Now look around you. Look to the faces on the screen and see all of the wonderful specimens in our collective human soul garden and understand how vital you are, how the flower of our souls need the same cultivation. Make it a practice to engage in deep listening, resting, and observation so that we can all bloom in our collective garden.
Now is the time in our service for our invitation to generosity. This church has been my spiritual home for over 25 years. When I first walked in the door, I was interested in exploring my spirituality, and this congregation gave me a safe place to do that. I was interested in being part of a community that I could fall back on, and when I became a single mother, my faith in this congregation was rewarded. When it was time for me to explore the evils of racism more deeply, I found many opportunities waiting for me within this church's walls. I've received so much from our congregation, and that motivates me to give as much as I can to fund the work of the church. Whether you're a longtime member like me, someone who's new to our congregation, or someone who falls somewhere in between on that spectrum, I invite you to take this opportunity to be generous and to participate with your dollars in the life of the church. There's information on the screen about how to give to the congregation. You can also download instructions if you click the Ways to Give link in the chat. Will you please join in our congregational commitment? The words are on the screen. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Thank you. Please mute your microphones and then join in singing along with our chancel choir for our closing hymn, number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fears. I know my fears. I know my fear. I know my fear. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fears. I know my fears. I know my fear. I know this fear. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose will open.
May we father and nurture ourselves and each other in beloved community so that we can cultivate active hope to navigating our society and to dismantling systems of oppression that daily threaten our democracy and break our hearts and take away our humanity. May we all be pruning and watering and resting our collective gardens together. And may we all receive the love and joy that we need. Blessings for all.